Today's youth need teachers, volunteers, and most of all, well, they need you. I'm Doug Edwards, and I'm going to be talking with real youth mentors and students to give you the knowledge you need to be the best youth worker possible. This is Youth Worker on Fire. This is the Reluctant Youth Worker on Fire. And Kevin doesn't know what that is. Kevin did not work in student ministry, but he is a parent. He is a fitness instructor. He's played football at the college level. He's a lot of things. And he's also, what armed forces were you in?
Army.
He's in the Army. And so, thanks for serving also. And so today I'm going to interview him about some things about parents, because this is for you guys that are already in student work, working with adolescents, middle school, high school, college, young adults. He's an expert there, and he doesn't even know how much of an expert he is, but he's an expert in those areas because he's had children, he has a wife, and all of the things that we do in coaching, in school teaching, in youth pastoring, all that affects you, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, Kevin, that's where we're going with some of this. There's no right answers, there's no wrong answers, there's only who you are. So tell me about growing up. Middle school, high school, where were the influences in your life?
Well, for me, growing up, we were a bit gypsy-like. We moved around a lot, so I ended up consequently going to multiple grade schools. And then by middle school, settled down a little bit. 2 middle schools, 2 high schools. And by and large, the influence that I remember most was from my coaches. I played football, I ran track, I played a little baseball, and it was always the coaches that seemed to have the hands on me that could get me to do the things that my parents couldn't even get me to do.
Right, there's a big plus for parents, but also a real plug for those guys who are working with adolescents, working in sports, because they get paid a lot, don't they?
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny you say that, and I can just add,
right.
Growing up and being in that environment, I kind of saw myself becoming a coach one day and doing that, and then I found out they really don't get paid that much, and
right.
The idea that you have to become a teacher in most cases or that sort of thing, and it just didn't appeal to me then, so I kind of took another turn.
Right. In fact, you end up paying more than you're getting ever when it comes to coaching. You're paying a lot out because it is a passion. Same thing with teaching. You're never paid what you're worth. People complain about it because of government and all this stuff, but never paid what you're worth. And parenting is a pure passion also, because you will never get paid what you're worth there, especially if you're a good parent, and that will go on for generations. And so those are the things that you're an expert at. You're an expert at who coached you. You're an expert as being that player. You're an expert at being that child of your parents. And you know about those influences. So tell me, there's always one that stands out. Which coach really stands out that you remember certain things that they said to you in high school, middle school, and we'll go into college later if we get to, but tell me about those ages.
Well, I'd say for high school, it was the first high school I went to. The head coach there, Lou Lane, never forget him. I mean, just a very
and you remembered his name.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a big deal, right?
Absolutely. Tough as nails kind of guy, but he loved you. And you just knew he loved you.
Yeah.
And he definitely had a passion for what he did, and he was there for many years, even after I left. In fact, they named the field after him, so it says a lot.
Yeah, happened in my hometown as well, because that guy was an icon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it affected a lot of people. It affects the entire community because of what he pours in. And so how long were you there with that coach?
I was fortunate enough to have 2 seasons with him. So,
good. Because you moved around,
yeah.
So 2 seasons was big.
I liked him so much, I took him for typing class.
Oh, did you? That's really liking a guy. That's right. Well, tell me, how old are your kids that are at home right now?
The ones at home are about to be 12, my oldest of the 2, and the other one just turned 9, so those are fun ages.
Yeah, but you see what's happening to them with influences that are in their life right now.
Oh, sure.
Now, private school, homeschool, public school, what are they?
We homeschool. Okay. My youngest has never been in public school. It's just kind of the way it's worked out.
Right, right.
And our oldest of the 2, who's, like I said, about to be 12, she went through first grade in public school. And then we just made a transition over to homeschool. We absolutely loved it. It's been wonderful for our family. We know it's not for everybody, but it's been wonderful for our family.
Yeah, we did that too. We did that plus we did it all. with private school, public school.
You see, you got the mixed bag.
Homeschool,
Well, yeah. But for us, it was about the influence. We
Yeah.
felt that we could be, more of the influence that they have growing up. Outside of us, it's influence at church and it's influence in their dance. They both have a passion for dance, so they have a couple of dance teachers they look up to very much, and that's where we kind of find ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about those dance instructors. They have any influence over your own kids?
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
dance instructors, they're amazing.
Yeah, and listen, I have a daughter-in-law who was an instructor even all the way through her master's degree in accounting. She was still an instructor for her job at the very group that she danced with.
Sure.
And her sister, younger sister. So it's a big deal. I know a lot about dance because of my sister and her kids, and then my daughter-in-law. So fill me in a little bit. Fill these guys in a little bit about the influence there and how much time.
Oh, it's a full-on dedication. You think about, my world was football. I didn't know anything about dance. I was used to, hard practices, long practices, tough summer of training, getting ready for the upcoming season, that sort of thing. And dance is every bit as tough. And I even joke with my girls and all the girls at the dance studio that if it were easy, they would call it football.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of dedication in terms of time and effort, and the injuries are there. You wouldn't expect it, but by golly, the injuries
Ankles,
do come.
knees, the whole bit.
Yeah, you got it. And so to be able to work through that, it takes a special kind of person to motivate them.
Yeah.
And the parents can only go so far with that. If the child has a passion for it, and the teachers see that, then the teachers, at least that we've been fortunate enough to work with, they're just tremendous.
Yeah, they're pretty wealthy. All those teachers are wealthy too,
Yeah, sure.
and that's why they do it. No, they do make a living, but they have to. That's a hard living. I've known some dance instructors, and then, like I say, the other things, and hard living, lots of hours, lots of extra weekends.
Oh yeah.
You ever had any of that?
Absolutely, with the competitions and the recitals and just getting ready for certain special performances. Oh yeah, just about every weekend throughout the school year, kind of follow that. So
Sometimes you thought you were back at football practice.
football would be easier.
That's right. That's right. At least there's a break here and there, right? How old were you when you went to the Army?
Straight out of college, so I was 22.
Okay.
I just turned 22, and it was something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to serve my country, and it was a way to pay for school.
Okay.
I earned an ROTC scholarship, and that was a great way to go. So 7-year career, no regrets for getting out, no regrets for staying in as long as I did. So it was all just kind of meant to be.
Well, and I know part of your story. I don't know all of your story. There's a whole lot to your story. I know there is that I probably will not know for a while. But you had that college career, you had 4 years, and the thing that's impressive to me was that you were at an SEC school, and the big deal that you did there, you walked on as a football player, which they treat much easier than a scholarship. We know that's not true. So tell them how they treated you there.
Well, I think things have changed. I think maybe the walk-on today, they're kind of hand-selected today, and a lot of auditions go on via digital things like this. They're able to present that. But back then, it wasn't like that. Back then, you had to prove yourself willing, and you had to prove yourself to have enough passion to even be out there before they would even consider bringing you onto the team. So for me, I can just say it was grueling. I didn't think I was going to play football again. I got to college and thought, well, those days are behind me. I didn't get selected to go to a big school, and I didn't really want to go to a small school. So turned down those small school offers just because I wanted to have that big campus experience. And so when I got to school, I had to find somebody to play football with. So I would go out on the weekends and just play with a group of guys, and we'd play tackle. We didn't have any pads, but we played tackle just because that's the way
just
you play.
Just what guys do.
That's right. And we're all durable back then.
Yes.
So, but after a few weeks, some of the guys were like, "You really should look to the walk-on program." And I really, honestly, I didn't have a lot of guidance on how that all worked coming out of high school, so I didn't really understand what it meant, other than it was a chance to play football again.
Exactly.
So I went ahead and I looked into it, found out that my timing was pretty good, that there was a meeting coming up just as the spring semester was starting and football season had wound down. And I remember very distinctly sitting in a room on a Friday night, and the head strength and conditioning coach, you want to talk about influence, this man had influence.
Yeah. And
he came in and he kind of reminded me of a drill sergeant. I mean, he just had this burly, grizzly look on his face, tough, tough as anything, weighed about 225 pounds, 6'1", ran marathons competitively, to give you an idea where this guy was in his fitness level.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah.
and he sat us all down. There were 66 guys in the room. I looked around, and almost every one of them were freshmen. We're all thinking, okay, we're going to play on this team.
Yeah.
He just laid it out, and he said, all right, for the next 6 weeks, I own you. Every night, you're going to come in after the football team has done their winter workout. I'm going to do everything I do with them, and then I'm going to run you. And he just laid it out there. He said, report back Monday, bring your own gear, because you're not getting anything that belongs to the team. And so we showed up on Monday night, but I looked around, I counted again, and we're down to 59. And before that first night was over, we're down to 52. Another 7 guys walked off the field. Ultimately, it got smaller and smaller, and at the end of the 6 weeks, we all had to pass a conditioning test. A couple guys couldn't make it, and it was see ya. And before you know it, we're down to 14 guys.
Oh, wow.
Everybody was, out for spring football, and nobody knew who we were, and we just kind of did our best. We all came back in the fall, and 2 of them got cut. So we're down to 12.
How many people went to this school, by the way?
The school as a whole, at the time, probably about 45,000.
Was about 70, 80,000 right now, something like that?
No, it's about 50.
About 50 right now.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Yeah.
They've kept some caps on it.
Yeah.
It's still a
yeah.
sizable school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's SEC, so
right.
most of the SEC schools are pretty big.
Right. So some brutal stuff going on there. But this guy sounds like he had an influence on you too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, his name's Rich Tootin. I don't mind throwing his name out there,
fine.
because even my friends today, my former teammates, we'll get together and we'll just tell stories. I mean, war stories about how you basically got Tootinized,
Yeah.
And but you knew that he only did it to make you better. He only did it so that you were your very best out on the field, and that you had a chance to survive the summer workouts.
And we're talking survival, because we're talking some of the biggest guys in the college realm, and when you're out on the field, when they let you play instead of some of the scholarship guys, you're facing some of the biggest guys in America, probably some of the biggest guys in the world that are playing this sport. And so it's a survival thing. And so this guy, in spite of how tough he was on you, you felt like he cared about you.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt he cared. In fact, one day, when summer workouts, he showed just how much he cared, because he practically carried me off the field. Doing my best to keep up with some of the bigger, stronger guys.
Yeah.
And by the end of the workout, pulling partners on weighted sleds the length of the field, it was grueling. And
in Florida,
you got it. And so there's a drainage grate in the south end zone of this field, and I felt like I filled it up by the time I was done leaving it out there.
You and a few others, probably.
For that day, I was the only one. He came and scooped me up, carried me, essentially helped me into the training room, and the trainers took it from there. But you could tell it was like, you're not going down on my watch. I'm gonna work you, but I'm gonna take care of you too.
Yeah, that's a caring person. I'm sure they took care of him as a trainer, a little more financially when you're on that college level, but still a brutal life. I've talked to coaches on all kinds of levels, and no matter how many millions you get paid, your family is still having to sit back in the background. And almost year-round, year after year, throughout this kind of career. So the guys that do that, they not only, the guys who love their families stay there because they really know they love them. And they're also the guys the type of coaches that love their players. That's big, because when we're talking youth workers, we're talking everyone from a volunteer that's elementary school or middle school, high school, and that's a real heart to be a volunteer in those areas. The same in college. We give up on college kids a lot of times, and whether it's in churches or whatever, and you don't see as many volunteers there as they need or should have. And then you have these coaches that are in these environments. So we keep seeing this change up, but there's such a small fraction of society that's seeing the type of volunteers, the type of full-time vocational coaches that you saw. That's a fraction. And there's a whole host of people that are just out of that fraction, that are unseen, and life is brutal for them, but there's just such a heart from them. Did he last all 4 years with you?
He left my senior year and went on to another program, and ultimately he came back briefly and then on to the NFL. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me about Army. Were there some people there that influenced you? Because you're not even 25. You stayed past 25. But there's a book called Yes, Your Team is Crazy, written by Michael J. Bradner, Dr. Michael J. Bradner, and it talks about Girls are 22 before their brain completely connects, before they actually know who they are. Guys are 25 on the average. And so you're still, according to this book, you are still in that adolescent stage or in that non-complete adult stage until you're at least 25, depending on if you've matured earlier or later. So tell me about your Army days.
Well, looking back, I can say that was very much the case. And here I was, basically an adolescent, and as an officer, I was leading other adolescents.
You're an officer because you had your degree. That was a big deal for them.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, though.
Yep. But being in that environment and knowing that really what you do, I mean, it's life or death a lot of times. I mean, we weren't a combat unit, but so much of what we did put us in dangerous situations and just high-level responsibility. Millions of dollars of equipment, dozens of guys under my direct command, and we got to be ready to do whatever, whenever. And so the training would be tough to make us ready. And so, looking back, I know that I wasn't fully ready to be that leader. And so I really think that because of the influences I had, both middle school, high school, and then ultimately in college, not just from the ROTC cadre, which taught us a lot about leadership, but from the coaches. And even some of the teachers I had along the way, just understanding how they did things, I really believe I leaned on that a lot more than I could even appreciate at the time.
Yeah, and how does that affect you in your parenting? Just all those influences, and now you've got these young kids in your home.
Oh, yeah.
and does any of that, I mean, probably intuitively, I'm making you think about what you may not have thought of before, but can you reflect, is there something kind of hitting you that, you know what, I think I parent this way because there may be a piece of it because of that influence or this influence over here?
Well, not a day goes by that I don't think back to my military career and how overcame certain obstacles and used all that experience today. And in many cases, it does involve parenting. And my two daughters that are still in the home, they understand what it means when I say move out, troops. I mean, like, okay, it's time to go. Dad means business.
That's right. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, they've got some of those things. So and let me tell you what, for these guys, we met in health and wellness. We met through a company that we're both a part of, that we have ownership in, and that company saved my life. Saved my life physically. I mean, I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and I've worked with student ministry for a long time. Volunteered since I was 15, full time since I was 22, 23. I believe was somewhere in there where I started doing other types of things in ministry, and then student ministry at about the age of 24. And so health became, I always thought I was healthy. Always thought I was healthy. I was a runner since I started sports probably 6 years old. And I started running when I was 14, as far as actual running, to get in shape. Nobody could make me do that. I had to do that on my own, figure that out. And so I did that till much later in life, but I started breaking down. And I did a lot of stuff in student ministries that I really don't want guys doing. I junk fooded it in the name of Jesus a lot. We do everything we could stay awake. We did all-nighters a lot, more than we should. Finally, at the end of I'm still in that career, but I'm doing it as a volunteer now. But in my professional career there, we even cut out the last 7 years any all-nighters except for those retreats. We figured that was enough all-nighters because we did about 5 retreats a year. And some of them were out west, up the coast, and in Florida. Lots of things that took away from family, lots of things that took away from energy and family, the very thing we're trying to build. But it was sucking the life out of my family many times, even though I knew better, And so you do a lot of things. And so tell me on the health end, what would you tell young guys that are in high school, college, military, that you would have done differently? I mean, you knew some things because the average person didn't know what you knew being in the SEC, and those coaches poured things into you physically, nutritionally, and things like that, but not nearly at the level that you and I are at right now, because this type of level wasn't there until about 1993. So tell me what you would do differently, or you tell those guys to do differently now.
Well, for one, I would listen to the coach I had, the strength and conditioning coach, because he did an analysis for all the players on what we were doing nutritionally, and we just did a little food journal for a few days and turned it into them. I didn't think much about what I was doing other than, hey, I had gained a lot of muscle and I lost a lot of body fat, so I must be doing something right.
Yep.
And he analyzed it and he said, your sodium's too high, your fat's too high. I mean, he nailed me on all this stuff, and I just kind of dismissed it like, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting bigger, and my body fat percentage is going down, and I'm getting faster. So all those parameters probably could have been better had I listened to him. And I look back at that and really believe that, he wasn't just telling me that just to tell me that and give me a hard time. He was telling me that because he cared, and he knew that I could make a difference. But at that age, you just feel invincible.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
When you're doing those physical things to make yourself stronger, and you're getting
right.
the benefits of it, you think you got the world, by the short hairs there. You got it all under control. So I'd say listen to those coaches a little bit more. From a nutritional standpoint specifically, I know I could have done some things a little better even outside of that guidance I was given.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really talk a lot about supplements, and I had no real understanding other than sometimes I might get a canister of protein powder.
Right.
Never really felt like it did much for me, and I didn't know what I was doing when I went to the store to buy it.
Yeah.
But looking back, if I had taken the time to really research the options that would have been available to me, I'm pretty sure that I could have gotten even stronger, gotten even faster, and probably got that body fat percentage down even a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, let's talk dehydration for a minute, because I think dehydration is and just my personal analysis and listen to trainers like yourself and things, I know some issues that I had that really nearly destroyed me physically. I believe had to do with hydration. So, and I don't remember the percentages that was thrown out in our company about if you're this much dehydrated, your reaction level is this. You remember those stats at all?
I don't remember the exact stats, but I remember it being very powerful, hearing that.
Yeah.
And because I'm in the industry, the fitness industry, I felt like, man, I should know more about this stuff. And so
that's right. You own Journey. What's the rest of the title?
Journey's Fitness and Wellness.
There you go. Yeah.
But from the hydration standpoint, that story I shared with you, where my coach had to practically carry me to the trainers, that was dehydration. That's plain and simple. That's all it was dehydration.
Yeah.
And they're this close to giving me an IV. They were able to bring me back without one, but they were fully prepared to put the needle in and get me back charged up. But just fluids got me back, and it took some time.
By the way, I've been on retreats to where students, some of them athletes and some of them not, seldom happened, and all these years of things, but twice it did happen, and it happened to 2 kids at a time each trip. Of those 2 of them had to get a bag, had to get some glucose or whatever it was they put him to hydrate them, and the others had to have oxygen. And it was all dehydration, and they were in a severe situation, not nearly what you were going through in the summer of, I guess it was summer.
Oh, yeah.
It was summer, and then
early August.
In Florida, and on an SEC field, and blowing it out. And if you don't have the right type of hydration, that alone, well, we know here it can be fatal. And so, and your coach knew, so he knew what to watch for and all that stuff. But I'm not the trainer; he's the trainer. So when you're listening to this, and he's had a lot more experience in the Army and in sports realm and hydration, there's probably, if you want to be a great youth worker, teacher, coach. I went to a trainer up in North Carolina, tried to get him to be a part of our company. In the corner of his training facility was a Coke machine.
Wow.
And he had a big old giant big gulp that he was drinking. He didn't know he's thin as he could be, just like you're talking about. Man, hey, I was faster, I look good, right? And I said, Coach, what are you doing? What's that Coke machine doing over there? That was one of the things that was killing me. And literally almost killed me. Hydration, big deal. And even some coaches, you got to be what you're preaching. And also as volunteers. So, all right, man. Well, listen, I appreciate it. Anything else you would want to say to the volunteers and people that are working with adolescents?
Well, if you know Doug personally, I'd say lean on this man, because he's truly that caring guy. You don't do that many years in that kind of ministry unless you truly have a passion.
Insane or something, right? Exactly.
So listen to this man. That's my advice.
All right, thanks, man.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.